Good
Okay. Thank
afternoon,
you.
Adarsh sir, Prashant sir, Harsh sir, and my dearest students. Today, with the blessings of our founder, President sir, vision of our Chancellor sir, and motivation given by our Vice Chancellor ma'am, Dr. Balvinder Shukla, and specifically initiated by our Director ma'am, Dr. Sujata Khande. We are in the midst of the workshop, specifically practical exposure on accounting skills and entrepreneurial analytics skill. Today, we are talking about the digital technology, Industry 4.0. And as Industry 4.0, the artificial intelligence is most important part for taking various decisions in regard of finance and commerce. Now, I request specifically to others, sir, to enlighten the profile of our esteemed guest, Prashant sir, with my co-host, Dr. Swaricha, specifically on the topic which is very diligent in the field of commerce and finance, and it is very vital decision for the students of commerce and finance so that they may take all the decisions on the basis of their intelligence, smartness, along with the use of updated technology, which has made them very convenient for taking very vital and very concrete decision related to the business, related to the company. I request others, sir, kindly welcome our esteemed guest, Prashant sir.
Thank you so much, Renka ma'am. A very good afternoon and a very warm welcome to our esteemed guest for the session today. It's my proud privilege to welcome Mr. Prashant Sahu. He has joined with us. Sir is currently working as a manager for data science trainings at Analytics Vidya. Sir has over 18 years of experience in the field of research, instrumentation, automation, simulation, modeling, image processing, and many more to name it. Sir is BTech and is also pursuing his PhD from IIT Mumbai. Sir has, as I mentioned, Sir has over more than 18 years of rich industry experience, and he has conducted various training programs for academia and industry in the area and field of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning using Python for engineers from, let me name few: Bank of America, DBS Bank, HSBC India, and HSBC Hong Kong, Reliance Industries Limited, Tata Industries, etc. So it's a huge list. So apart from that, we have requested Sir for today's session, and we are very thankful, Sahu Sir, for accepting our invitation for this 15 days workshop, which we have conducted, where we are inviting on a daily basis the esteemed guest from the industry and academia to discuss and deliver sessions on various topics. So straight away coming to the topic for today's session. So first of all, I would like to thank you, sir, for accepting the invite and joining with us for this 15 days program workshop. For the students and participants who have joined today. Let me share with you the topic for today's session, as you are also aware of in advance. It is marketing intelligent decisions using financial data. So I will be requesting Prashant sir to discuss with you from his vast industry and academic experience to share his thoughts on marketing intelligent decisions using financial data, where we have requested sir to discuss with you on artificial intelligence and machine learning applications in the field of accounting and finance domain. So once again, with this, I would like to first of all welcome you, sir, Prashant sir, once again, and would like to request you to address the audience and discuss from your vast experience in this field. So welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Aurora sir and Bakshi ma'am. Am I audible, loud and clear?
Yes, sir. Perfect, sir.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Let's get started. So how much time do I get? 45 minutes or 1 hour?
We have
I
1 hour,
plan
sir.
accordingly.
Sir, as you wish, sir. 45 minutes, 50 minutes.
As you wish, sir. As you wish, sir.
Because
Okay.
our students specifically belong to commerce and finance. They are aware only the outer side of this course. They don't know what is the use of it. We have started this course. This is the first time which has been introduced in commerce and finance.
Okay.
So it is our humble request. So a student may be able to understand its necessity for their decisions, necessity for using in the commerce and finance.
Right.
It's over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So yes, thank you, Aurora sir, for giving a humble introduction. Okay. So one thing that I would like to share additionally, apart from my industry profile, that I've been doing trainings, doing a lot of projects in the data science. Also, I'm supporting a lot of academics, like I am also in the syllabus revision committee of a lot of universities. I'm also a BOS member of a lot of universities. I'm also a panel expert for faculty hirings, also panel expert for your BTech and MTech project evaluations. So a lot of those outreach activities I'm doing for several universities in Maharashtra region, actually. So I'm more, known in this belt than in the northern belt. Anyway, so let's go and actually start the session. Okay, thank you. Yes, so before I actually start the content, I have just 2 slides to, sum up about what our organization, company is doing right now. Okay, so right now am working as manager for data science trainings, especially for the B2B and B2B domain. Here we are building community-driven products. Okay, we are committed to upgrade and upskill the masses. Okay, with the least possible resources. Okay, and with that mission, we have come across our platform where we have 3.5 million monthly visits. You can see we have around 1.1 million registered users. And there are several courses, free courses are also available, where we have more than 350,000 users already registered in our platform. You can just log into courses.analyticsvidya.com. We're also holding jobathons, hackathons, blogathons. Okay, jobathons is where you can just register yourself and start applying for jobs. Hackathons is like a competitive programming platform. We are also coming up with certifications. And then, as I mentioned, we are coming up with, we already have this blogathons where anyone can write down a blog article on data science, machine learning, and our platform will be able to share it across the entire data science community. Okay, and that is all peer review. So this is what we are doing, and let's now straight away dive into the main content. And yes, these are the participating companies who have been supporting us in the last almost 8 years of our journey. Okay, these are the most popular hiring companies from our jobathons, as well as some of the courses that we are running, both self-paced as well as live. Okay. Okay. So this is the slide from where the main content is starting. Okay. So, good. Okay. So as this timeline very aptly shows that AI is not something very new. I mean, it has been there since 1950s, 60s and all, although not very popular because of the constraints and limitations on the computational resources. Okay. When we say artificial, it is explicitly assumed that there is a machine, there is a hardware which will perform the same task what a human should be capable of doing. But then back then, 50 years ago or 60 years ago, okay, the machines were not having that much of a computational power, you see. So AI had started, the algorithms were there, and even today we are using some of these algorithms, okay. So algorithms were also there, but the practical implementations was very limited, and the biggest challenge was the amount of data that was available was very, very small and also very confined to the government sources. I mean, there were not many open source data hubs, you can say. Fine. So I'll just explain some of these terms before we can see the application parts. Okay. So artificial intelligence is a broader domain. Okay. And there are two words, one is artificial, one is intelligence. So let me define what intelligence is like according to me, and then I'll start defining some of these terms. Okay. So intelligence, according to me, would be capability of making decisions on your own without being explicitly instructed or programmed. So if your boss is saying, Prashant, do this, then do this, then do this, then do that. Okay. I mean, I'm being explicitly instructed to do every bit of work. I'm not putting my brains. Okay. So that's not much of an intelligence. Whereas if my boss says, okay, Prashant, I want you to do this task. I don't care how you do it, but at the end of the day, this has to be done. I want you to make a course on blockchain. It's all yours now. I'll give you a month. Okay. That's where my intelligence starts. I'll start reading. I'll start, doing all sort of mining, coming up with own ideas, how to best present those technical stuff and so. So those things are called as intelligence. Okay, the same thing is what we are expecting from a machine. Let's say a machine is able to identify whether a transaction is a fraudulent transaction or not. I'm talking about, let's say, a credit card transaction. Okay. So earlier, 15, 20 years ago, any fraudulent transaction was flagged manually. People used to manually review these transactions, but now we already have made some automated systems, okay, which are deployed on the server where these transactions are being processed. So any new transaction comes in that goes through this particular model as a filter. And then if the model says, okay, this transaction seems to be genuine, let's process it. Whereas my model says that, no, this transaction seems fishy. There's something wrong with this. Probably the IP address is not fine. This transaction is being done from some unknown location or a location from where this transaction is happening for the first time. Okay. A point of sale which is fishy, a website which is not having a proper SSL certificate. There could be several reasons, but every time you cannot make a rule-based systems. Okay, that's what the AI and machine learning talks about. Okay, so there could be so many complicated combinations of these particular, you can say, attributes that trying to identify under which scenarios you have a fraudulent transaction and under which scenarios you do not have a fraudulent transaction. Figuring out those scenarios manually can be a hell of a task, because these scenarios are very complicated, very complex for a human to interpret, okay, and make sense. And that is why I am going to employ my computer. My computer should be able to make the decisions the way I make it as a human, and I expect it should do a better job. Otherwise, I'll just dump this machine. Okay, so that is what artificial intelligence is, being making the machines capable of making human-like or even better than human-like decisions. Okay? And these are all several aspects of AI. Okay, when I say aspects, there are various components you can say. So if you're doing a project on, let's say, image recognition, a simple example I'll give. Let's say whether this photograph belongs to Prashant or not. That's a simple application of the image recognition. Can you see on the top right side? So let's say you have a database of 1,000 images of Prashant and 1,000 images of various other people who are not Prashant. And then you train a model, okay? And you come up with a machine learning model which can identify whether any new image, unseen image, looks like Prashant or not, let's say. So that's a purely a project based out of machine learning or deep learning and image recognition. That's it. You cannot say that I've made an AI application, because if you want to claim that you have made an AI application or you are doing an AI project, you should be connecting a lot of these dots. So I'll give a simpler example. So you might have heard about the driverless cars. So what happens in a driverless car? So you have a camera fitted on top of the car, which takes the 360-degree view of all the neighboring buildings, trees, signposts, signals, and everything, and builds a real-time scene for the car about not just scene, basically information about the neighboring vehicles, front, back, how much distance is there, lanes, okay, and everything, okay, and that enables the car to keep a safe distance and have a safe driving speed. Now, let's say your camera has detected that there is a traffic signal which is approaching in another 200 meters. Fine. And the car is currently, cruising at a speed of 100 kilometers per hour. So it was able to identify that there is a traffic signal, or let's say if it is in a highway, then imagine your toll plaza. So there is a toll plaza ahead, and you would have typically seen half a kilometer and a kilometer before, okay, you will see this signpost of toll plaza ahead. So that was detected, recognized, but this car kept on moving with 100 kilometers per hour and bang. So you did your job actually. So your machine was able to identify the traffic sign, but that is completely useless because you made an image recognition project which is working, no doubt. And that's not AI. There is no intelligence. What is the point in making such a project where your car is just banging on? Okay. So what is lacking in this? Question is, what is lacking in this? What is lacking, which is not making this particular thing intelligent? The feedback, right? The feedback. The feedback has to go to the braking system. Okay. So the braking system has to know that I have to slow down the car, and further it has to know that at this distance I have to stop the car. Then only that intelligence comes in. So unless you get a feedback, that decision making, that feedback is the decision making. The car is able to decide that I have to slow down, and that decision has to propagate to that braking system, and it has to actually execute. So that is what I call as an AI application. You might have seen this in Google's Google Assistant. Another simple example, Google Assistant. So there is a mic button in the Google Assistant. Okay, you can use that mic and actually ask a question to Google instead of typing it down. Have you guys tried this before? Using the mic button and asking a question. So for example, I ask, what is United Nations Organization? Okay, it will convert your voice into text, do a Google search, retrieve the results, and read back the answers to you. So you see, a lot of things are going speech to text, text to speech, and then further search engine is being activated. Okay, and if possible, there might be, so for example, you are searching in French and you want the results in English. So there is a translation also happening. So you are using NLP, you are using text to speech, speech to text, and then you have created an end-to-end application where you have a front end, you have a back end. That is what you call as an AI application. You are incorporating multiple dots. Okay. Whereas a Google Translate is a simple translator from French to German, German to English. It's not an AI application as such. It's just a translator. Whereas your Google Assistant, your Alexa, they are end-to-end applications. They are AI applications. Okay. So I hope you get the point. So many applications are already there. I would not like to, go ahead and discuss all of them. Okay, but traffic, search engine results, online fraud detection, we'll talk about this, medical diagnosis. Okay, and then you have a text and speech recognition, email spam filtering, what your Gmail already does it for you. Okay, image recognition, it can identify Prashant or not Prashant. Same face unlock facility, biometric unlock facility on your mobile phones, on your laptops. That's all the example of image recognition. Okay, biometric attendance systems, in a way, they are also image recognitions. Okay, virtual private assistants, your Google Assistant, you can think about Alexa once again. Automatic translation. So again, I spoke about these things. So these are all the applications already happening. Okay, this blog post, it's not a blog post, sorry, it's an article which came in the Harvard Business Review, October 2012. So that is where the domain of data science and data analytics, okay, actually started skyrocketing. So they had already predicted exactly 10 years back, okay, that this is the new thing. This is the new, the next big thing where the majority of the jobs will be. Okay, like in the previous decade, it was all about nanotechnology and so on. Prior to that, it was information technology. So this particular decade from 2012 to 2022 is where all the data science, data analytics is. The next probably is all about blockchain, quantum computing, mixture of these. Okay, so we can talk about that later. But yes, this is from where it all started. Okay, that is the point from where the data science as a domain started getting visibility. Okay, so I'll give you a very quick brief, quick review of this entire data analytics as a spectrum. Okay, what all we do, and maybe I'll take a simple example to explain. There are a lot of technical jargons in this. Okay, I have been told that majority of the students are from UG and few from PG. So I'll take a simple example. Okay, so let's say you joined as a data analytics manager in a multinational bank. Okay, and your manager gave you access to all the data of the customers. Okay, you have access to all the customer transactions. So let me make it even more granular. Okay, so let's say in a particular bank, you have 10 million customers who have made 10 billion transactions in the last 10 years. So you have huge amount of data of 10 million customers who have made 10 billion transactions cumulatively in the last 10 years. So this much of our data you already have. And he wants you to give more insights. What all has been happening, what the customers have been, transacting, for what kind of expenditure pattern and everything, right? So that the branch manager can, come up with more meaningful products in future. Okay, so you did some data analysis, and after a week, you come back to him saying that, sir, I have found something interesting. Okay, tell me what. So I think that in the last 10 years, 0.04% of the transactions have been reported by the customers as fraudulent transactions. Okay. Manager somehow, is controlling himself, because whatever information that just now you have talked about, okay, is probably known to that manager, right? It is his job. So that's already known. So you added hardly any business value. Your information, your analysis in the last 1 week had the least business value. Can you see the lower end in red? You just reported what has happened. You just told what has already happened. Okay. And most of the times that will be already known to the business. Okay. But then you say, okay, fine, I'll take another week and come up with something more informative. Then that's where you start dissecting. You start doing the postmortem of these fraudulent transactions. And then you come up to your manager and say, okay, I found that majority of the transactions are done during the night time, 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Okay, during the peak seasons, during the festive seasons, during, with these particular IP addresses from so and so VPN addresses from so and so countries, okay, with so and so kind of customer profile are more prone to fraudulent attacks. Now that starts making sense. Okay, because there is a pattern. That is what you have figured out. So accordingly, those customers can be educated that you are most likely to, attacks by so and so, phishing attacks, whatever. Okay. So, and now the bank can start making some what we call as preventive measures. Okay, educating customers and putting more firewalls, increasing the security of their servers and so on. Okay, so that is what we call as detective analytics. You start doing postmortem of your data and try to find out why did that happen in the first place, right? Now again, you start analyzing the pattern and create a live dashboard. Okay, daily I'm getting so many thousands of transactions, which are again divided into online transactions, credit card transactions, UPI transactions, okay, point of sale transactions, okay, those swipes that you are doing at the merchants, okay, those are called as point of sale transactions. Okay, so in a restaurant or in a mall, you are swiping your debit card or a credit card. That machine is called as point of sale machine, POS machine or POS machine. So point of sale transaction, where you are making a physical transaction by swiping your card, or it could be ATM transactions. All of those numbers are coming up in a dashboard. And again, you are presenting the live breakup of all these numbers, where these geographic locations are coming from, urban, rural, age group breakdown, male, female breakdown, okay, profile breakdown again. So many things are there. But then your manager is expecting something more. Now, Prashant, can you come up with a model by which I can probably have a target segment for a credit card that I want to launch in the next couple of months? This is a signature credit card, which has benefits like complimentary access to golf course, complimentary access to international and national airport lounges, okay, complimentary passes, 5 complimentary passes every year for clubs like PAN card clubs, Mahindra clubs, Corinthian clubs, and so on, and many more benefits. Okay, you get 100 points, extra miles for booking airline tickets, this and that, and this and that. Fine. So now you have data of 10 million customers, and you want to find out the right customers for whom this credit card would be more suitable. Because now, see, it's a completely futile attempt to start cold calling each and every 10 million customers. You see, to start calling every random every random customer that you have in your database and start saying, okay, I'm calling from so and so bank. We are launching so and so credit card with so and so benefit. This and they will be pissed off. And more than that, your frustration will start, okay? Because that doesn't lead to anything. You haven't done enough research, okay? So definitely this is not a good idea, okay? To start cold calling, you understand cold calling? Banking calls that we get every day without logic, okay? So that's cold calling, okay? So you have set up a huge telemarketing team with 100 people there, and every day they are calling hundreds of people. So 100 into 100, that is the number, and you can just divide and find out how many days it will take to start pitching 10 million customers easily. So that will probably take 100 more days. Okay, so that's completely insane. Okay, so that is where the branch manager seeks your effort, your help. Okay, so then what do? I start, grouping all these customers into, let's say, 3 segments: a high profile, a mid profile, and a low profile. High profile is where, because there's a signature credit card, probably invitation only. Not everyone can apply and get this card. So it's an invitation only card with all these premium features. So I'm looking for people who are going to be interested in such. So let's say there is a farmer who has got 80 lakhs in his bank account. Do you think that farmer would be interested in such a product? Does the audience have access to the chat?
Yes, sir.
They can ask. They can ask.
Yes, sir.
They can ask and they can respond also, right?
Yes, sir. They can. They can
Yeah.
ask.
So there is a farmer, okay,
Yeah.
who has got 4 tractors and has got 80 lakhs in his bank account, hundreds of acres of land. Do you think that farmer is going to be interested in this signature credit card? So that is the point here. Okay. So just looking at the bank balance may not be sufficient. Okay. We need to see what kind of transactions these people have been doing. Okay. So a person who is paying 10 rupees for a chai is not going to purchase this credit card. A person who is paying 10,000 rupees for a t-shirt is the one whom I am looking for. You see, those are the HNIs that I'm looking for. The people who are, every Friday going for a party on a club, kind of every 2-3 months they are going on a vacation. Every 6 months they have an international trip. You see, so those are the people I'm looking for. So I want to look what kind of transactions they have been doing. What is the source of those transactions? What is the nature of their spend? All these things will help me to build a customer profile. Okay, you cannot just look at the debit and credit balances. Okay, that person might be in debt. I don't care, but as long as this debt is being paid by that person, I'm happy. And credit card is another kind of debt, any debt instrument anyway, unsecured loan. So you understand, right? So that's where data analytics becomes really, really important. Okay, your analysis. So all your analysis, you said, okay, boss, this is a list of 1,000 people which I believe would be really interested. And if you even have a strike rate of 50%, you have saved huge amount of time. You see, so that is the thing. So the business value will increase, and rather the complexity of the problem will also increase as more and more business value gets driven in your business, in your analytics. Okay, fine. So on the right side, what I have given is the job of a data analyst. Okay, mostly he will fetch the data, clean the data, pre-process it, and do some exploratory data analysis. EDA is all about reporting, detective analytics, and creating dashboards. That's it. The first 3, red, orange, and yellow, that's where a data analyst job profile is. The moment you start creating models which can predict something in future, okay, that is where you start using your machine learning algorithms and then deploy your models onto the server and then optimize your models, create pipelines, maintain them, and number of things. That's where we call it data product engineering or machine learning engineering, MLE. So that is the JD. JD is the job description of a data scientist. Is that clear, everyone? Okay. So of course, the challenges are much more in the data scientist profile. And of course, the pay packages are also equivalently very high, okay, compared to the DA. So everyone starts as a DA. 3 years to 4 years down the line, they move as a data scientist, okay, and probably 5 to 7 years down the line, it is senior data scientist. 7 to 8, 9 years down the line, it's like principal data scientist, and 10 years plus, it becomes data science architect of the company. So that's how the experience level increases and your job role progresses. Okay. So ultimately, what is machine learning? Okay, machine learning is all about learning from experience. Our experience comes from day-to-day activities, and the same experience is what we want to feed it to the machine in the form of data. Okay. So obviously, as the data increases, data volume increases, your machines will become better and better. Right? So this is how a traditional computer program looks. Okay, you have the input, you do some calculations and you get some output. Think about a simple computer program to calculate home loan EMI. You have a standard formula, right? You have the principal, you have the interest rate, and you have the formula to calculate the EMI and the amortization schedule, right? That's a standard thing. What all inputs you need? How much loan amount I'm looking for? What is the tenure I'm looking for? How many years or months? And what is the rate of interest? What the bank is offering? That's again a standard. So 3 inputs, and I'll get the complete, EMIs for all those many years. The interest I'm going to pay each month, and the principal amount which has reduced by each month. So that is all tabulated in your amortization schedule, what you call. EMI calculator, standard EMI calculator is what you get. Or a simpler example, think about, I don't know if anyone of you have done programming. So think about writing down a program to find the factorial of a number. So input is a number and output is the factorial of that number. Simple. What we do in machine learning is the other way around. So the input and the output number and the output, just imagine your EMI amount. Simple, okay? So input is a principal and let's say the number of years, okay? And the rate of interest, whatever, okay? So these 3 as the input and the output is the EMI amount per month. Formula is what I am not feeding to the machine. So machine does not know what is the formula being used, okay? It is expected that the machine will be able to learn the relationship between the input and the output. That relationship is what we call as the model. So you'll have to give several examples, okay? If the principal amount is this, with this rate of interest, with this tenure, this is the EMI. The next record, new principal, new rate of interest, new tenure, new EMI amount. New principal, new rate of interest, new EMI amount. So this way you can feed a table of 10,000 records and somehow the machine will be able to figure out how is the EMI amount related to these 3 independent variables. That relationship is not hard coded as an equation, okay? But the machine knows what it has learned, okay? And that is your model. Now you can use this model to predict the EMI against any unknown EMI, principal, rate of interest, and your tenure. You give anything unseen to the model and you will be immediately able to get a EMI value calculated without ever using that formula. So that is the proposition. So I just gave one example here. So in machine learning, there are 3 big things. One is supervised, one is unsupervised learning, okay, and one is what we call as reinforcement learning, which I have not written it down over here. So in supervised learning, you get classification and regression, and in unsupervised learning, you have clustering. See, what is the main difference between supervised and unsupervised? In the supervised learning, you have both X and Y. So both the input and the output is fed to the machine, and the machine is supposed to find out the relationship between X and Y. Whereas in the case of unsupervised learning, okay, there is no output. You only have the data. And we are supposed to find similarities in the data. So I'll give a simple example. Okay. Imagine a machine, you are building a machine learning model to predict whether a loan application should be granted or rejected. Simple. A loan application should be granted or rejected. So what are the inputs that you would take from the user? Of course, the name, geographic location, educational status, education level, sorry, marital status, age, income, number of outstanding loans, how many CIBIL score, CRIP score, okay, what else? Something more you can say, okay, how many times he has defaulted in the last 6 months, okay, how many loans have been completely repaid, so many things, okay, and finally how many times his loan application has been accepted or rejected in past, kind of, okay. So those information you already have, and whether that person's loan application was accepted or rejected by your bank okay, or not. So let's say you took out the history of 10,000 such loan applications, okay, with the final status, whether accepted or rejected. So 10,000 loan applications, whether accepted or rejected, that is your output. Accepted or rejected, that is your output. And you have the customers information, 10,000 customers information, whether the loan was granted to them or not granted to them. Fine. A simple case of classification problem. So here you have the inputs, which are the customer profile data, and the output, which is the target. What is the target here? Target is to predict whether a loan application should be accepted or rejected. That is your target. And that ground truth you already have for the past 10,000 applications. Listen to my last statement once again. That information about the target, the ground truth you have from the past 10,000 applications. That information is going to help you to make the machines learn in a supervised manner. You can tell the machine you are learning in the right direction, in the right manner or not, or whether the machine is making errors or not. To rectify those errors, you will need the target value. But that's exactly missing in the case of unsupervised learning. Here you only have the customer profiles. You have no idea whether their applications have been accepted or rejected in the past. So now come back to your credit card application. Okay, credit card scenario where your manager wanted you to find the profile of those people, or those to find a bunch of those people where they could pitch that particular signature credit card. That's the case of unsupervised learning, because you only have the information about the customers, their profiles, their transactions in the last 10 years. You have no idea whether a similar card is held by those customers from any other bank. You see, so that target value you have no idea. So what are you going to do? You are just going to group similar data points together. You are going to find out some pattern by which you will be able to classify, not classify, but make clusters of similar profiles. Okay, you will find out some of these hidden patterns. Correct. So that is what unsupervised learning is all about, clustering. So in simple words, classification means classifying A or B. So tomorrow, not tomorrow, Monday, Nifty is going to give a gap up opening, gap down opening, up or down. Classification problem. Is this image Prashant's image or not? A or B. So these are standard classification problems, right? Yes. By Diwali, is Nifty going to cross 19,000 mark or not? Okay, again the same. Okay, whether a loan application should be accepted or rejected. Again, a classification problem. Is a current transaction fraudulent or genuine? Classification problem again. You see, regression. Regression is quantifying how much or how many. What does that mean? So your sales forecast for the next quarter, UPI transactions that is going to happen in the next quarter, the amount of GST collections from your customers in the next quarter. Okay, that you can predict. By how much amount is Nifty going to go up on Monday? If you can give a number to it, 120 points, 180 points, 250 points, that number is what regression is all about. Okay, how many new customers you are going to add for your bank? How many new insurance policies are you going to, add to your company? Okay, so how many claims the insurance company is expecting by the next quarter? So if you can come up with the numbers, that is where you are adding value to the company. You are, instead of simply saying that I think that the next quarter will have more number of claims than the previous. Right, the population is growing, the number of insurance policies are increasing, so obviously the claims will also increase. What is, big deal in this, right? But if you can quantify, the company can be mentally prepared. It can make provisions, right? Instead of, one fine day saying, I don't have money to pay the claims. Okay, so that's what. Think about the mutual fund companies. Okay, so what if everyone starts redeeming their mutual funds on a given day? Mutual funds will go bankrupt on a single day. So that's what they are supposed to pay you back, but let them be also mentally prepared. Okay, and how do they get mentally prepared? Because of these models. They tell the buying patterns, the selling patterns of the FIIs, DIIs, and so on. Okay, clustering, just now I mentioned. So I'll just skip all this now. And this is the complete landscape. So that's what I said, reinforcement learning. There is a third branch, which we normally do not talk about unless you are making a game, playing AI, playing a game, or unless you are training a robot to climb stairs or to, do some ninja fighting or something. Okay. So real-time decisions, robot navigation. So those things are what we address by reinforcement learning. Supervised learning is where you have your regression and classification tasks. In regression, you can forecast the population, lifetime expectancy, market forecasting, how is it going to do in the next quarter or the next month itself, okay? Weather forecasting, whether it is going to rain tomorrow or not, and how much it is going to rain. Advertising popularity predictions in the classification, medical diagnostics, and so on. Okay. So there's so many algorithms are there for each of the classification, regression, and clustering tasks. We'll not get into all that. Finally, this is how a complete workflow for a machine learning task looks like. You load the data, you process it. Why is processing needed? Because your raw data will have a lot of noise. So garbage in, garbage out. So your raw data is as good as garbage to the machine, literally. Okay, you have to make sense out of that raw data. That's where the pre-processing is very important. So you make it in a format that the machine can make something out of it. The machine should be able to identify the pattern out of that. Okay, so for that, a lot of manual pre-processing is needed. Okay, so once you have pre-processed it, you have got rid of the missing values, outliers, and many more things. You can also derive the important features. Okay, you can help the machine to tell out of your domain knowledge that this particular variable is very important, this particular variable is very important. Okay, out of all the several of them, these are important variables, so that you can derive. And then finally, you train a model. Once you get the model, okay, you still make it better by changing some of the parameters. That's where the iteration starts. And then once you have the best model, all you have to do is integrate it in a final application. So there will be a front end. What is the front end? User will be presented with a form. Chalo, okay. So in that form, first name, last name, age, income, take home salary, number of outstanding loans, total amount of loan that the person is seeking. And then there is a button, let's say, okay. What you call as evaluate my loan application. Okay. On clicking that, all this information is sent to your machine learning model and that machine learning model will also fetch an additional information without the user noticing, and that is the CIBIL score. Okay, so that CIBIL score will be requested. There is a cost to it. Let me tell you. Okay, you will have to, your company or your bank has to pay some cost to the CIBIL. Okay, to access the CIBIL score of the customer, but that score really helps. Okay, because that score is like a complete history geography about you. Okay, in black and white. So that score, if it is, let's say, above 800, then there's a high chance that your loan application will be accepted, provided the other parameters are met. Right? So your model says that, okay, accept his loan application, whatever amount he is seeking, it makes sense that this person will be able to repay that loan. Okay, so that front end, am I audible? Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sorry. So someone logged in from my other account, so doesn't matter. Okay, thank you. So that was the front end, and the back end is going to process that loan application. Okay, the result will be presented back to the user in the same web page that your loan app. Congratulations, your loan application has been successful. Our executive will get in touch with you to collect the documents and physically verify, and then we will be able to disburse the loan. If the loan amount is very small, they will actually take another 5 minutes to do the KYC. and with a face verification and other things, they will actually disburse the loan in another 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know if anyone have experienced this, but there are now apps which actually complete this entire process in just 10 minutes. You have the money in your bank account in just 10 minutes, right from application till getting money in your account. It's all 10 minutes. That is the power of your AI application. Okay, so you have to integrate it. Then only it makes a intelligent application. What is the point in just simply collecting the data and then analyzing it offline, right? So your model should be able to make decisions end to end. Okay, the process has to get automated. Okay, so these are the tech stack requirements. Excel, Power BI, or Tableau. So Excel, everyone knows. Power BI or Tableau, that is used for data visualization. Okay, and you can say creating dashboards, also doing a lot of data analytics. These are tools actually. You need a server query language because most of these databases will be saved on some server. So the first thing is to be able to analyze, you will have to fetch the data using a SQL command from these servers. So all the data in the banking domain, financial services domain, BFSI, accounting, everything is saved in some database. So you need the SQL knowledge to be able to fetch the data. Then only you can analyze or make a model out of it, right? And then you have to be extremely proficient in one of these three languages, okay, to make scalable applications. Otherwise, you will be, constrained to just analyze the data and that's it. To be able to make a predictive model, you will need one of these three languages. So you can do the data analysis by using Power BI, Tableau, and SQL. Actually, that's more than sufficient. So that is the first three things for a data analyst role. But if you want to become a data scientist, then you cannot skip one of these three programming languages, especially Python. So these are the most popular packages for AI and machine learning. I'm not getting into all the details, but yeah. Now coming to the applications, I have like 4 or 5 more slides purely on the applications. I would request another 10-12 minutes. Is that fine?
Perfect, sir.
Okay. So we are done with the basics, and now in the next 10 to 12 minutes, I'll focus only on the applications, what people are actually doing. So before I get to that, let me tell you some companies and mostly the banks that I have done the trainings for. So one prominent name got missed out, which in my initial introduction, which I would like to reiterate. Okay. And that is JP Morgan Chase, JPMC. JP Morgan is the biggest bank in America. Second biggest is the Bank of America. You see, JP Morgan has got roughly 20 to 30,000 employees in Mumbai, another 25-30,000 employees in Hyderabad. If I tell you that the entire backend of that JP Morgan bank is handled in Mumbai and Hyderabad, I would not be extrapolating at all. Entire backend. That entire bank is running because of the Indians. Yes. Same goes with Bank of America. They have a huge team in Chennai, Hyderabad, and Bangalore. Okay. I've done several trainings for them, upgrading their engineers, employees, credit risk teams, marketing teams, sales team, different teams are there. So I've been doing extensive trainings for these banking officials. So JP Morgan, Bank of America, DBS Bank, HSBC, India offices. I've even traveled to the Hong Kong in office, HSBC. Okay. So you see, these people are working hugely on all these applications which are going to be discussed. So these are the companies or the banks, you can say, who took the lead for investing into AI. See, that is very, very important. Think logically, who has the maximum money in any economy? Who has maximum money in hard cash in any economy? The banks, you see. So unless there is an adaptation, okay, coming from the banks, adaptation for what? Adaptation for a emerging technology. You are saying that blockchain is the next big thing, but what I'm straight away saying is if banks or these financial services are not ready for accepting blockchain, no other technology will, no other, company or, domain will use it. Okay. As simple as that. Because banking domain is something, or financial services, let's call it as banking and financial services, BFSI. Okay. Including insurance, I is for insurance. So banking, financial services, and insurance. So this BFSI domain itself is the biggest investor in any new emerging technology. Okay, that could be related to servers, that could be related to hardware, related to computer security, could be related to networking, could be related to data storage, could be related to cloud, and now related to data analytics and data science kind of applications. So the biggest, investment and the earliest adapters, I would say, is this BFSI domain. So you are already in that domain. So congratulations, the initial barrier is gone. So stop thinking about whatever I'm going to learn, if useful or not. If it is not useful for your domain, it is not useful at all for the humankind. As simple as that. Okay. Then otherwise, if it is useful, it would be for a very niche industry. Okay. And then it's a very target segment. I mean, something very peculiar to aerospace or something very peculiar to, healthcare and so on. But data science is everywhere. Okay. I've also done trainings for healthcare companies, e-commerce, Airtel, Vodafone, even Maxis Telecom. So a lot of telecom companies are using. I've done trainings for aerospace companies as well. So you see, AI is everywhere. Okay. And okay, so let's get started with the main points here. So these are the top 10 points. I'll not discuss all of them in detail right here. I have separate slides for each of them. Not all of them, but some of these I have a separate slide. So starts from so many things, loan payment prediction, whether, so see, depending on this, can you see the second point? Loan payment prediction. So that is what I was trying to tell you some time back. You can actually predict whether a user will be able to pay back that loan in that stipulated amount of time or not. Okay, using all this, the model is going to predict if there is a high probability, let's say 80%, then the loan will be granted. The probability is less, let's say less than even 50% or 40%, then the loan will not be granted. It is as simple as that. And that will make, and that's an evolving, number, I would say. Okay, so this customer credit policy is not very hard. I mean, that keeps evolving depending on what is the pattern in the data. So for example, people with 70% probability are also defaulting in difficult times. That happened in the last 2 years, right? Because not many people were having regular incomes. Their salaries were getting delayed in the Corona Kal, I'm talking about. Okay. So salaries were getting delayed, even salaries decreased, a lot of people got fired. So even people with very good CIBIL score, they couldn't, pay the EMIs in time. They even started defaulting. So that has to be a, evolving process. Okay, you can't always use the same policy, but a human intervention to create such policy can be very biased. That is where the machine comes into picture. Machine is devoid of any bias. Okay. Bias for could be against a race, could be against gender, okay, or could be against a particular profession also. Okay, let the machine decide everything. I, as a human, should not be involved in such things, customer sensitive information, especially the ethical things. So your model has to be, able to take care of all these things, and it is able to, given the good amount of data that you have. Okay? So that is where it becomes really important. Classification and clustering of customers for target marketing. This is what exactly I told you some time back. Okay, bank wanted to launch a new credit card. Now imagine a new insurance policy or a ULIP plan, something, or a new fund, asset management company, AMC. Okay, or a mutual fund. So a AMC or a mutual fund is launching a new segmented fund, maybe a blue chip based or a large cap, small cap, or it could be based out of subsectors, a combination of real estate sector and an automotive sector, something like that. Okay, but then who will be the target customers? So how do they, find out? Okay, that is where these things become really important. Okay, they need to see what kind of profile these people have. Okay, what kind of financial knowledge or education these people have. Only these people who understand, finance, accounting probably will be interested in such a very niche product. If it is more generic, like a health insurance or a term insurance, that is needed by everyone. Even a simple, chai wala would need a health insurance, or even a farmer would need a health insurance. You don't need rocket science to predict that. But if you are coming up with a very niche product, there has to be done, you have to do a lot of analysis to find out the right customer base. Detection of money laundering, there is a slide on that. Automated trading systems, there is a slide. Credit scoring. So I have done trainings for CIBIL and CRIF also. So CIBIL score and CRIF score. So these are credit scoring companies. Okay. So depending on your transactions, depending on your outstanding loans, depending on how frequently you have defaulted or not defaulted, how long you have been repaying a loan, how many loans, what is the total outstanding, what is the percentage of the outstanding remaining, and let's say if you have credit card, how much is the credit you are taking from your credit card. All these things, numbers go into the calculation of a credit score, which goes from lowest value of 300 to the highest value of, let's say, 900. So any value above 750 is considered good. Any value above 800 is very good. The chances of anyone getting a loan using a credit score of 800 plus is very high. So that's where the credit score, which is a regression problem. Ultimately, it's a regression problem. Okay. So that's where this credit scoring comes into picture. Risk management, again, similar to your fraud analytics. So plus risk management also deals with transactions. It could be banking transactions, point of sale transaction, credit card transactions, or transactions related to mutual funds, or even transactions related to equity stock markets also. Okay. So there is a RMS, risk management system, associated everywhere. Think about Zerodha or ICICI Direct. They also have a risk management system. You are placing an order for buying a particular stock, and you just, let's say the stock price is 100 rupees. Okay, and you want to put a limit order. I want to buy it at 100 rupees. Okay, and the stock is currently trading at 100 point something or 101 something. And while placing the order, let's say you are placing order for 10,000 shares. While placing the order, you missed 1 0. So instead of 100 rupees, you typed as 10 rupees. So you want to buy it at 10 rupees. Okay. Now that will be detected by your risk management system. Okay. And immediately your order will be cancelled. Okay. Or you want to buy it at let's say 1,000 rupees. So there would be, thousands of people to sell it at a very high price because you want to purchase it at a very high price. But what happened? That extra 0, okay, triggered the risk management system once again. Okay, because RMS keeps a track. So if you have these extra zeros or anything which goes out of a window, okay, the RMS triggers and your order gets immediately cancelled. Otherwise, a stock which is trading at 100 rupees, you accidentally purchased it at 1,000 rupees, you would be absolutely ruined. You have purchased that stock at 10 times the actual price. See, you will be crying ever till eternity. Okay. So that's where the risk management systems comes into picture. So immediately such an order will be marked red, flagged, and cancelled. Immediately it won't get executed. I mean, it won't even go to the NSE server. So that order itself will be cancelled by the broker server. That is RMS, risk management. Underwriting, okay, I'll not get into all that. Fraud detection we'll be discussing. There is a slide on that. Collection analytics, I'll spend 1 minute on this. So let's say, again, Corona call, okay? So I've been having a home loan, let's say, and for the last 5 years, I've been very promptly repaying my EMIs well in time, getting debited from my account. But then again, I'm facing some hard time. I want to switch over my job, or let's say I got fired, anything could, or I spent a lot of money on my parents' treatment, medical treatment, and I don't have money to, pay the EMI for this particular month. So what will I do? I'll call my bank and say, see, I have this problem. This has happened to me for the first time. So can you just wait or hold the EMI for another 10 days? I'll get my salary and you can take it. So the bank will actually see your record and analyze your situation. And if they find it favorable, obviously they will accept it. These things happen. So don't be shy. Point I'm trying to make is don't be shy in asking for it. If you ask for it, you will get it. Conversely, the bank sees that this guy is a regular defaulter. Okay, they won't give any attention to your request maybe, or your request might be denied, and then they will immediately send buggers to your home. Okay, and they'll hold you with your collars. Okay, and start extracting money. So that's what your relationship with the bank, that analysis helps the bank to decide the next course of action that has to be taken. Should I treat this customer, okay, in a very respectful way and let's say accept or grant additional 10 days, or should I deny his request and start firing calls 10 times every day? Sir, आपका EMI pending है, 10 बार call आएगा, and then you will be just get bugged up. Exactly. So this collection analytics helps the recovery people. Those are the recovery agents. Okay. So there is a recovery team in every bank. Okay. Mostly a third party team. So they will analyze how long this customer has been, what is the kind of relationship, how long he has been paying, serving that loan, this and that. And that analysis tells how should we behave with this particular person. Otherwise, if I see that my relationship with the bank is since last 15 years, I am having my, let's say, savings account with this bank, and this bank did not even pay attention to my simple request for holding it for 10 days, I'll be seriously pissed off. And the very next month, I'll close my account with them. As simple as that. And the banks know it, right? And the banks know it's not at all difficult to open a savings account in 2 days' time. It just takes 5 minutes. Upload your KYC document, Aadhaar card submit karo. Without even visiting the bank, you get your new savings account, and that too with a higher rate of interest. Okay. So banks know this. They want to retain the customers. So all these collection analytics helps. Okay. So there was a survey done, to find out what were the top reasons, okay, by these financial services firms to find the motivation of using the AI and machine learning in their, work or in their domain. Okay, so the most prominent points which came out is, can you see, to increase the workforce productivity, especially this is the case with smaller banks, smaller institutions. Identify opportunities in data that could be otherwise missed. This is again the case with the smaller banks. The bigger banks, okay, they are, more into fraud, risk, whatever I presented in the previous slide. But the smaller banks, they are more interested in increasing the customer satisfaction, customer retention. Customer is the king for them, because the smaller bank will have very few customers, let's say thousands or 10,000s, not more than that. And they want to provide the best possible service from them to them. They want to automate their process also, so that all these things are not delayed. Okay, automate the process. So let's say account opening process. Let's say you want to block your credit card and you keep calling your bank 10 times. That's completely futile. That's completely illogical. Okay, you should not call your bank 10 times to block your own credit card, right? It should have happened with a blink of an eye. Within few milliseconds, you should be able to block your card if you want. See, I don't want my card to be transacted by just anyone. I just want to block everything. Why should I be questioned 50 times? Why should I keep calling the bank? I mean, in that time, if some transactions happen in my account, who is going to be responsible for it? Who's going to pay for that? You see? So such simple things can't take 15 days for approval. If I apply for a loan and I'm really needing that personal loan for some medical emergency, and that bank takes 15 days, why should I sit 15 days? I'll rather pay 2% more interest and go for a small bank or a financial services like Bajaj Finance, FinServe, kind of, okay, smaller banks and financial. Even Paytm is coming with a similar product, okay. So I'll go with these smaller banks and financial services, and with 1 or 2% higher interest, I'll immediately get in another 10 minutes. Why should I, unless it makes a huge difference, it's just a couple of lakhs, then it won't make a much of a difference. Time is very important these days. So you automate that entire process of decision making. So no more manual, taking decisions. Again, so this anti-money laundering is a huge product. I mean, that's a huge investment almost taken by every single banking company, India, abroad, everywhere. Okay, till now, all the fraud detection algorithms were rule-based, like IP addresses, utpatang aaye to, some of the IP addresses belong to companies based out of South Africa or Middle East or something, blacklisted countries, you can think about that way, okay? Or coming from specific VPN addresses, coming from, so I'll tell you one thing that happened to me, okay? So in 2019, when I was visiting researcher to German aerospace in Germany, Cologne, okay? So I booked my tickets, air tickets and train tickets sitting in India, okay? Of course, you will have to, and all those were in euros, okay? So my credit card worked very fine. I had booked all my train, travel, everything, insurance, all in euros. It worked fine. Happy. I landed there in Frankfurt airport. I did my first transaction and my card immediately got blocked. Forget about the transaction. The card immediately got blocked. And now I am taken at a fix. Then I started calling the bank. Okay. They told me, sir, we detected a transaction from a completely unknown location. Bank never knew that I'm actually visiting Frankfurt. Okay. So I had to tell them, convince them literally that I am the person who is right now sitting in Frankfurt airport doing that transaction, and I want my credit card to be activated. Otherwise, I would not be able to, book a cab or something. Okay. And then they took some time, verified it, and actually, activated my card back. So these things are so automated, so sophisticated. Sometimes that will trouble you, but it is worth at the end of the day. Okay, so that's what I said here, automatic detection of fraud scenarios. So these scenarios will be automatically learned from data. No one is going to make a rule. If this, then this, if this, then this. No. All these if else conditions are created, checked by the machine. Okay. So real-time data is processed and a decision is instantly taken. Fine. Chatbots, you might have already seen. I'll show you. Okay. I see. Spelling correct. I'm just so you see, every single bank has got a chatbot now deployed on their website. Okay. Can you see this iPal on the right side? You can actually start asking questions. Okay. So interest rate on fixed deposits. Okay, let's see what comes up. Yeah. So what are the interest rates on FDs and RDs? So I can click on it and immediately I'll start getting responses. You see, so those things are there. Okay. Same thing happens with HDFC Bank or whatever bank you can think of. Okay. Okay. Fine. Algorithmic trading. Okay. A lot of the data shows that 65% of the trades in NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange is happening through these algorithmic trading bots. Okay. In India also, it is roughly 35 to 40% now. High frequency trading. So a lot of trading platforms are coming up. Okay, which are trying to come up with advanced algorithms which can predict what will be the next multi-bagger stock. You can say the analysis of particular sectors. You can say so. A lot of these things are there, and these algorithms are not just predicting if the price will increase or decrease. They are actually executing the trades. That is where a AI application is. AI application doesn't mean that it will only predict that by Diwali you have 19,000 as the Nifty price. No, it is actually going to purchase stocks which are the best and hold it till target price is reached. Or if anything happens, the risk management system kicks in and actually even sells if there is a something negative about that particular stock. So all these things are completely handled by a AI system. Fraud detection we have already talked about a lot. Okay, some order goes to the model, estimate is made, probability score. Estimate means a probability score 0.6%, 0.8%, sorry, 0.6 would mean 60%, 0.8 would mean 80%. The probability score is more than a threshold. Now, whatever that threshold is, the probability goes beyond the threshold, it will be accepted or rejected accordingly how you have created the system. Recommendations. Now this is something interesting. So recommendation about relevant products. Sometime back again I talked about signature credit card. Okay. Now there are two more words. I don't know if you guys are aware of these two: cross-selling and upselling. So cross-selling is like, let's say you already have a savings account. Your bank will start approaching you for a credit card. So that is a cross-selling. Okay. So they already have, or you already have a home loan with them. They will again approach you and start selling you some insurance product or maybe a personal loan. Okay. So that is cross-selling. Okay. Upselling is like you already have some loan. They might give you a top-up, something more in that same segment, something more which is already related to it. Okay. So that is cross-selling and upselling. Compliance. There are several companies. I've already listed the names, Pendo System, Compliance here. So the compliance in the banking sector is so extremely, complex that a person trying to handle several, you can say definitions, use cases, and fine prints is very difficult. So let the AI take care of all the compliance. And these are the companies who have actually created applications which automatically takes the compliance and so many things. Okay, thank you. So I've already taken enough time. I hope you found this session useful.
Yeah, thank you, Prashant. Thank you for the very enlightening and informative session. I think this was a quite comprehensive knowledge bank for our students of undergraduate level. So in that light, I would just like to ask one basic question. Looking at the rate at which we are witnessing enhancements in AI in all aspects, do you foresee any kind of cyber hygiene curriculum or like to-do list could be set up for the students of undergraduate or postgraduate level? How far do you think can it be feasible?
See, cyber security is one thing that one should be aware of. Okay, so but then again, these are some critical issues which should be taught to only specific set of students. Okay, so not everyone has access to the server, and not everyone has access to all the database. Let's take it that way. Okay, and that said, such a course may not be relevant to everyone again. So what is more relevant is being able to draw insights from the data which can drive the business, which can make actionable insights. Okay, so this is something which is more generic for any UG PG student who wants to get a career in AI, machine learning based, banking sector, financial sector, insurance sector. Everyone is using them. Something very specific to security or something, because there are experts to handle those kind of scenarios. So let them be better handled by the experts. As a student, frankly, I would not, or as even a university, introducing a course for that particular niche segment may not be very fruitful exercise. That's what my belief is.
Right, sir. Very
Now,
right, sir.
any other questions, students? If you have any question in regard of it, we are here to respond. Prashant sir is here.
You can write your question in
Sir,
chat
we
box
are
as well.
getting one specific thing, and you have given the respond of it. Whenever we are interconnecting this artificial intelligence with the commerce and finance, there is a way. They may learn the Excel, SQL, and specific Python, RStudio, and query is that, sir, whenever they will go with it. For example, they are going to start their venture. The most important thing is the customer feedback on which their quality of the product, the logistics, supply chain will depend. What is the loophole? How will they remove this loophole? For the information sake, which kind of the software will help them to make a model so that our commerce and finance student may go for learning of this kind of the language or specific kind of the software, they may get an idea about this model, sir.
See, you can even make simple models by using Excel itself. Okay. Even Excel, simple Excel can be used to create regression models. Not
Yes.
very classification models, but definitely
Yes.
regression models. Some statistical models can always be made because, and you teach about these statistical models in your curriculum as well. So I would strongly, encourage the teaching fraternity also to show these kind of real-time applications. Let the data may not be very exotic or very sophisticated, but some
Yes.
basic models they should be able to make, and they should be able to make sense out of those models also. That's the second part of it, which is also equally important.
Yes.
What the second phrase means is you should be able to explain, the student should be able to explain what did I do, why did I do, and what meaningful did I get from this.
Yes.
Okay. They should not say that I just put this equation and I got the result. And
Yes.
my calculation says that 80% this guy is going to default. Arey Baba,
Yes.
ठीक है 80%, but where is that cumulative number coming from? What is the most important contributing feature or a factor by which you are able to come to such a conclusion?
Yes.
That level of understanding has to come in, because that is what the companies are looking for. They will
Absolutely.
always train you, they will always upgrade your skill set. But the data analytics skills, the raw, number crunching skills, that is what they will expect by default. So hiring
Absolutely.
always happens not based on your Python knowledge. I'll tell you very frankly. Some basic Excel, some basic Power BI or even SQL, that's more than sufficient. And you say that I have a basic programming knowledge, that's more than sufficient for them. Their test will be mostly on your quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, okay? And third word, guesstimates. Guesstimates.
Okay.
Please
Okay.
do not undermine this word, okay?
Yes.
So take this word very seriously and do panel discussions on guesstimates. Present them with n number of scenarios. It could be just anything, okay? Let them guess some numbers and how. See, this is a part of what we call structured thinking. Okay, so if you go to our website, there is a free course called Structured Thinking that helps any student to frame a data problem from a business problem.
Hmm.
First, you have a business problem, and then to solve that business problem, what amount of data I would need, what kind of data I would need. Okay, do I have the right data? Data sanity check, validity check. So that is how structured by structured, step by step, you are converting a business problem in a data problem. Once you have converted into a data problem, then you can start applying your data analytics and data science and a number of your models. Okay.
Absolutely.
That level of structured thinking is what we are looking as an industry into this, student community.
Agreed. Agreed, sir. Either, first of all, they have to think if they are looking at the cost, they are looking at the revenue, they are looking at the logistic. First of all, they have to learn the tech test to collect the data. After collecting the data, what is a business problem, which kind of the solution they want, then on the basis of it, they may collect the data, and Excel provides them these kinds of the tools, either go for correlation, regression, because
Yes.
I'm teaching the same to them. They have
Exactly.
taken the data and which way they are going for trend analysis, they are going for the regression, they are going for standard deviation, fluctuations, variation. And whenever you are talking about all this now, because it is a practical exposure, the main aim of this workshop is that student may capable to connect them with the live applications. And
One
yes,
important thing I would also like to emphasize is hypothesis testing. So
yes,
statistics and hypothesis testing
absolutely.
also is expected. Like, so that really helps the students to formulate or people to formulate their statements in a more confident way, rather than saying that
Yes.
I believe that uh, this is the kind of trend. You can directly convert your I believe that, I think so. So those
Yes.
things can be removed, and you can say that this is the trend, and there is enough statistical evidence to prove this point.
Prove this hypothesis that it is
Exactly,
accepted
exactly.
or rejected.
Yeah. So all
Yes.
your thoughts and beliefs are hypotheses. So that culture you have to cultivate.
Yes, yes, absolutely, sir. Absolutely. So our lecture was very fabulous, and students may capable to attach themselves, whatever we have taught them. It is useful in a practical exposure also. Thank you very much to you, sir.
Thank you.
Now
Thank you,
I
everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Now I request others, sir, kindly give a vote of thanks to Prashant, sir, for an excellent session. Others, sir, it's to you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Before that, I would like to ask one question, sir. A very small question, with your permission.
Yes, yes, sir, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, we study two terms. That is, one is the Q learning, and second is deep learning. So I just want just a quick view on from your side on the difference on these two terms, Q learning and deep learning.
See, deep learning, Q learning is more on the reinforcement side, okay? And where you want algorithms to get better on their own. So that is what is said is reinforcement learning. Whereas in deep learning, most of the problems that we solve is either a classification or a regression problem, standard. So that is supervised, mostly the supervised, or even unsupervised also. You can make use of autoencoders and do compressions and so on. You can make use of generative adversarial network GANs to create more data points and something. But Q learning is where the reinforcement part starts to come. I mean, so that's a completely different domain. Compare it to a supervised or unsupervised learning, which is what we normally use the neural networks for. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So the applications are different, and so the network architectures are different.
Okay.
Because for each different task that you want to perform, the network architecture will be different, right? If you want to do image processing, you'll have to use CNNs. If you want to make a neural network which can do a sentiment analysis of your reviews or products, then you'll have to go for something which is more suitable, like LSTM models or RNN models. So if you want to do some time series analysis, then again the network architecture will be slightly different. Again, you will have to use some bidirectional LSTM or something. So that is the point I'm trying to make. First, think about what application it is, and then go back to decide the network. The network will not decide the application. Okay, the application decides what should be the technical thing needed for solving that problem. So one has to be just clear with the application part first.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Thank you so very much for sharing your views. Uh, Now we are towards the end of the session, and before that, it's my proud privilege again to propose vote of thanks to our esteemed guest. And I would like to, sir, thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of the whole Amity family, and on behalf of all the students, the participants, my faculty colleagues, and everybody who has joined here. So on their behalf, I would like to propose vote of thanks, and I would like to, thank you for sharing on such a very, very interesting and very, very important topic, and which is the need of the hour, need of the, the current scenario, and looking into various, you explained with several examples. You talked about the artificial intelligence in your first slide. You started with when it was first, initiated or started right from the year 1950. You discussed many things relating to artificial intelligence and machine learning. And like the examples, sir, you quoted, so that actually made things very easy. And when we read online, or when we read all these topics, without having maybe from the books or somewhere, if you don't find the examples or illustration, so I personally believe whatever is a subject or a topic, so if we add on some practical insight, as Renuka has also pointed out, that the practical examples, which you quoted in your discussion, every topic, every subtopic, so that actually made the learning more easy. So for that also, I would like to thank you, especially for quoting and explaining with real world examples. So that actually made the topics to grasp the meaning very, very easily and comfortably. So, sir, you discussed about all these changes and the role of artificial intelligence in various places, and you also discussed about the feedback in your discussion, that the feedback is actually very, very important in artificial intelligence. So that is also very, very important. And I also listened that very carefully, and everybody in the group have also, those who have joined, that Google Assistant. So Google Assistant, that also you have explained that it's a kind of like where the role of artificial intelligence and the artificial intelligence application and the biometric attendance and various other things where the role of artificial intelligence is there. So you explained in detail about the stable score and the role, how the banks manipulate and calculate about, like, if the loan has to be sanctioned, has to be rejected, so what kind of mechanism or system has to be adopted, and where is the role in that case of the artificial intelligence, and how the banks and other authorities have to be more attentive and careful. And like you quoted your example, just to explain that if the boss has given any task, so and that particular task is something new for us, so how we can go for it. So where is the role of artificial intelligence? So that actually starts from that particular point of time. And now it's the job of the employee or job of the particular, the students are listening to us. So in their student life also, their role or their job in that case would be like how they have to start preparing for their exams. I would like to mention in that way. So they have to apply their mind. Like if they get some kind of a case study in their marketing or finance paper, which is something new, which they have not read in any book or online, so they have to then apply their mind, because nobody is there at that in that 3 hours of exam to guide them. No Google, no mobile, nothing is there. So they have to apply their own intelligence and try to find out the best and suitable answer. What should I write the answer in 4 lines, or I should write the answer in 2 pages? So that actually they have to decide. So with this, without taking much of the time, so I would like to once again thank you so very much, sir, Prashant sir, for sharing the thoughts, and first of all, sparing time for our students, for our participants, and from your vast industry experience, and because you have taken so many workshops and the FDPs and various training sessions, and like in India as well as in abroad. So from your wonderful experience you have, so I would like to thank once again to you, sir, for joining with us and accepting our invitation on this wonderful topic. I would also like to thank my colleagues Renuka ma'am and Harsh sir for joining with us and giving the opportunity to interact with the guest. I would also like to thank the IT team as well as the most important the participants, the students who have joined and listened and have also asked various questions to our guest as well. So once again, I would like to thank each and everyone and to you, sir, as well, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Arora sir, Vakshi ma'am, Harish Kumar sir. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the participants. I've given my LinkedIn link. You guys can reach me over there in case if you want help with
Yes,
any
sir.
query. Yeah, I'll be
Yes,
able
sir.
to help you. Sure.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
We'll look forward to meet you again in the next sessions.
Yes.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very much, Prashant sir, Dr. Adarsh, Dr. Harsh, Dr. Swaricha. Special support, IT, Maksud sir, for the logistic and for smooth running the session. The whole workshop is going smooth due to the IT logistics, which has been provided to us, timely support. Thank you very much. And very, very thank you to our dearest student for joining the session and for becoming the patient listener. Thank you very much. Adarsh sir, thank you very much for moderating the session. Thank you
Thank you,
very
ma'am.
much.
Thank
Adarsh
you,
sir.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.